They want a stronger relationship because the way the world is getting divided between the transatlantic alliance, US and Europe, and virtually the rest of the world, with China and Russia being the poles of the uh,
Yeah.
rest of the world, in the sense that countries capable of challenging US power. And there is the global south, which has been fed up with Western double standards all these years, and they have been now dramatically re- revealed in the conflict in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Uh, so India is a bridge, and India, 1.4 billion people, now the largest country in the world, rising economic power, will play an increasingly important role in international affairs.
Good evening. Welcome to the Gist on Strat News Global. Good evening. I'm Surya Gangadharan. The US FBI director, the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, is in Delhi apparently to get to the root of the alleged plot involving India to assassinate this Sikh gentleman, Pannun, Gurpatwant Singh Pannun. And earlier, the US had demanded an investigation by India, and that was followed up with a visit by their deputy NSA Finer. So that's the issue we're going to talk about today with our guest, Ambassador Kanwal Sibal, who is a former foreign secretary. Sir, welcome.
Thank you.
So why is Gurpatwant Singh Pannun so important for the US?
Well, I'm a bit surprised because they know his background, they have been following his activities, they've seen his videos, they've seen the threats that he's been making against our leaders, against our missions, against our diplomats. He threatened to actually, if you look at it implicitly, encourage a bombing of Air India
Yeah.
or mayhem at the Indira Gandhi International Airport, also disrupting the Cricket World Cup. So, what more is needed in terms of what he stands for, what his agenda is? He's a force behind the Sikh referendums, ask, advocating the breakup of India, uh, targeting, questioning the sovereignty of India. Um, so it's very puzzling that they have done nothing to curb him, to make sure that he is in line with U.S. Foreign policy towards India, because they're not naive. They know what the implications of all this is. Punjab is a very sensitive state.
Yeah.
The Khalistani movement was eradicated after great difficulty. It has left scars on the Sikh psyche as well as on the Indian psyche in general. There is an effort to revive this movement. There are elements in Punjab which are involved in this. There is support for this from Pakistan. The agencies of states know very well what the links between the ISI and the Sikh Khalistani extremists are, because some of them are in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Uh, so this kind of totally averting their eyes from what is happening on the ground. And add to that the fact that the San Francisco consulate of ours was firebombed twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, says a lot in terms of the threat that these organizations pose to Indian security in India and abroad. So it's puzzling. I can't make a uh, I can't rationalize it unless, of course, you come to the conclusion that this is deliberate. He has a protection of U.S. Agencies, of certain political elements in the United States, in the Democratic Party, progressive wing of the Democratic Party, in the media, in the think tanks, uh, in the political class of a certain kind in academic circles, who are who think that he is a useful tool to deal with the rising India, especially under Modi and the BJP and this entire Hindutva uh, bogey that they have created,
Yeah.
and the whole issue of minorities under threat in India, the constitutional processes uh, being violated in India, etc. The entire narrative. This
Mm.
this part. So the support for him and what he stands for fits into this larger narrative of a pressure point uh, on India.
See,
Now,
so there is
sorry.
an argument. There is an
Mm.
argument that this is only a kind of a public thing that they're doing. The idea is to pressure India to walk with the US in other areas, or work with them, or coordinate things with them. Do you? I mean, you've been a diplomat for many years. Do you think this has an element of fact in it?
Well, I mean, if they look at the history of India-US relations, they would conclude that India has not buckled down when its
Yeah.
most vital interests are involved. After all, they
Yeah.
sanctioned us on nuclear and missile technologies and dual technologies. They set up all these uh, technology control organizations to uh, to put pressure on India over the years, openly calling for cap and freeze and rollback and elimination of India's nuclear capability.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We went ahead and conducted the nuclear tests.
Yeah.
Uh, we have a history of non-aligned movement. They are aware of that. We are very conscious of maintaining our strategic autonomy, not as a point of such a principle that we're not willing to make some compromise here and there in national interest, but the
Yeah.
basic thrust is that. So they have tested us over time. So it's not as if on a small issue like this, at the end of the day, it's a very small issue and it's a bad issue for United
Yeah,
States.
it's a
And
very
therefore,
small issue. You said it. Yeah,
and
yeah. So I
therefore,
was just wondering, sir,
mm,
is the US expressing dissatisfaction with the way India has dealt with perhaps buying American products, weapons, equipment, in the manner with which we did with Russia, and they want us to be more forthcoming with those orders?
well, we have bought about 22, $23 billion worth of
Yeah,
arms. More are coming. This Reaper um, uh, drones and this G414 engine, which will
yeah,
power our Tejas advanced aircraft. So we are moving ahead, and there are other things which are not so much in the public domain, where we are cooperating with them, especially in underwater sea technology to
hmm,
keep tabs on movements of submarines and of a certain country. So things are happening also uh, between India and United States, and then there is this ICET, which is an extremely
yeah,
vital area both for United States and India,
yeah,
and they see that India can bring a lot in terms of United States maintaining its international lead in these critical and emerging technologies in which China has made tremendous strides and is posing a tremendous challenge to the United States of America. And the United States knows it can't do it alone, or or if it can be a slower process. But if they bring India into this with the manpower we have uh, and the research capabilities we have, it can be a plus plus. Uh, so
hmm,
so uh, they are moving ahead with us. So we had this 2+2
yeah, yeah. Went off well.
also.
Yeah. Mhm. There's a view, sir, that the American deep state doesn't like the manner in which the relationship with India is going forward, and this is their way of telling the political leadership to back off and put some brakes on it.
I think
How
so.
does that?
I think that is a fact because this values-based democracy or sharing of values. So there is this narrative that India doesn't quite share uh, values with the United States of America.
But the
But the
deep
question
state is
to ask,
concerned about values, sir. The deep state cares about values.
no, 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 no. This values argument is used as a plausible uh, ploy to pressure India.
Okay.
So, in the sense that they have to sell it, they have to explain why India is being targeted. So this is a way to do it.
Mhm. Our own arguments about Pannun and what the other Khalistanis are up to doesn't appear to carry any credibility. Is there some problem with the way we communicate, or is there lack of communication from us? What is the problem?
No, 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 no. I don't think so. They understand very well what Pannun is all about. I just spelled out to you what Pannun stands for, what his agenda is, what he's been doing
Yeah,
public. And the remarkable thing is, that just before FBI director's visit, he threatens to shake the foundations of the Indian Parliament. Now
yeah,
he knows that we're going to raise this issue with Ray,
yeah,
but he's defiant, and he's defying the FBI director, embarrassing him, because this will be an immediate, uh, uh, you know, argument on our side to say what he is,
yeah.
but he's doing it. So who's protecting him? I think the conclusion is quite clear. It's not simply the right to freedom of speech or right to um, whatever peaceful protest and stuff like that. They know this is not peaceful. And
Mhm, mhm.
if as is being argued that he, being a lawyer, is fine tuning his statements to stay on this side of the American law, this is just kind of an argument that you make to justify the unjustifiable.
Do the Americans, in your sense, are the Americans comfortable with this developing relationship with India, the establishment, or they would rather that keep us at arm's length, have a limited relationship?
No, 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 no. I think they want it. They want a stronger relationship because the way the world is getting divided between the transatlantic alliance, US and Europe, and virtually the rest of the world, with China and Russia being the poles of the uh,
Yeah,
rest of the world, in the sense that countries capable of challenging US power. And there is the global south, which has been fed up with Western double standards all these years. And they have been now dramatically revealed in the conflict in the Middle East.
yeah,
Uh, so India is a bridge, and India, 1.4 billion people, now the largest country in the world, rising economic power, will play an increasingly important role in international affairs, strong leadership, especially if there's a single party government once again, or
yeah,
the more comes back to power. So India actually is very useful to them. It is both in the Quad and part of the Indo-Pacific concept, strengthening all kinds of military ties with the United States. Uh, at the same time, it's a member of the SCO, a member of BRICS, and everything else.
yeah,
So this actually ensures, so far as they are concerned, and this is the way I would analyze it, that give India room and space, because this way they are actually countering Chinese power
yeah,
and the Chinese dominance. Uh, because within BRICS and SCO, this and that, they're a challenge
yeah,
to China wielding the power that it likes. And the leadership of the global south that we have taken is also, apart from our own interest in taking it for obvious reasons, uh, also is a counter to China's great strides, penetration in the global south, including in our neighborhood.
yeah,
So why would they want to weaken us? I mean, a larger strategy, in good sense, uh, would, to my mind, dictate that strengthen India, strengthen India. If there are issues here and there, which will be there, uh,
yeah,
talk to them, talk to each other, try and contain that part of it. But go ahead, because in the larger calculations and the sums you make, uh, a stronger India, a democratic India will remain a democracy. It will constantly be a challenge to kind of totalitarianism that China represents, and the
yeah,
opaqueness of transparency and expansionism that China represents. We are not an expansionist power,
yeah, absolutely.
defensive
Yeah,
power. we may be expansionist in terms of seeking a greater role in global governance, but that's very different from military expansionism and aggressiveness and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So there it is. I don't know Americans how they reason, how they calculate. I can't say.
So, where do you think all this toing and froing is leading? Do they want an admission of guilt from India? Do they want us to hang somebody here, hand over somebody else? I mean, what do they want?
I think they want to make an example of something, uh, put India on the defensive, make sure that somebody is held accountable, so that their purpose uh, is served. Warn India uh, that the kind of activity that they are engaged in is totally unacceptable to the Americans. Um, and now the point is that uh, if, for example, they had taken some action against Pannun and this and that, and of course some of the issues that we are raising, that extradition of the Havur Rana, whatever his name
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
if on some of these issues they are moved, then it can be a quid pro quo. Then both sides lose, both sides save face.
yeah.
That okay, we have gone ahead and we have pinpointed the rogue element and we have held him accountable. And on your side, you made comparable reciprocal gestures. But if it is one side, then they want to humiliate us.
Mhm. What do they gain by humiliating us, sir? I mean, this is what I can't
No,
understand.
this is the whole thrust of all that I have said all along, that it doesn't make sense to me. From our side, we have broadened the agenda of Christopher Wray's visit uh, by admitting that this Pannun affair will be discussed,
Yeah,
but he's going to meet CBI director, the RAW chief, the IB chief, the NIA chief. Uh, he'll meet some other people, and we have laid out what the agenda would be, brief them. We've said we'll raise the issue of the extradition of the Rana.
yeah,
Plus, we talk about what's happening in India uh, in the Punjab front, the Khalistani movement, the violence, the gangs that operate, the drug trafficking, criminal violence, and stuff like that. Give him a proper briefing. So he's not going to come. He's not going to go away by with a single point agenda. No,
mm, mhm. Does this hold the potential of damaging the bilateral relationship?
no. I think that even the White House spokesman has said more than once that this issue has to be sorted out and somebody held accountable because we take it seriously. But we'll continue to strengthen our strategic partnership with India. And so they're also sending a double message that
Mm.
this is not going to affect the larger uh, dynamism of our developing ties. And the 2+2, the fact that this was held, despite the fact that they knew
Yeah,
they knew by then what the whole thing was. The fact they
yeah, yeah,
held it at a time when the United States is deeply, deeply embroiled in the Israel-Hamas conflict.
yeah,
This is on time to come and do this and send a signal. So these are mixed signals. These are mixed signals. How they think that this is a better balance from their point of view, that cornered India on this relatively small issue, and then say that we want stronger ties with you. They think that this sort of a balance from their point of view is acceptable and will not do damage to the relations. And from our point of view, our reasoning would be the same, that we are interested in stronger ties with the United States. And if we can somehow overcome this issue that has got created, then we can go ahead and proceed as before. Though, of course, uh, the trust building that is extremely critical in terms of India-US ties, given our past history,
yeah,
will be affected by this. And not only this, it is the really, really campaign against us by the Western media,
yeah, yeah. Mm.
which signifies something. It should not just be overlooked. There are forces behind it.
Mm. So it's orchestrated.
Yes. Yes.
So, last question. If do you think that, given how matters have proceeded, this could have been handled differently by the US, perhaps quietly, without going to court and putting this all in the public domain? I mean, this could have been, if they were that keen on the relationship with India, this could have been handled very, very differently.
I think they are also helping Mr. Trudeau. So he put his
I see.
foot in the mouth, and this is one
Mm-hmm.
way of helping him also, that he had some legitimate reasons to go to Parliament. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, it might even be speculated that the Americans put him up to it,
Yeah,
because they had, now with hindsight we know they had this information. So instead
yeah,
of making it public themselves while they were trying to entrap this Gupta fellow, they
yeah.
asked him, go ahead and make this statement in Parliament. So killing two birds with one stone, saving Trudeau's face, and also helping uh, and make and raising this issue with India in order to uh, put India a little bit in its place. Let me conclude by saying that although I think it is a wrong way of looking at things by the West, they are not very happy with the kind of leadership will be taken of the global South.
I
I
see.
mean, this sort of, rings a bell in their minds that this is again that non-aligned stuff that
Ah,
India is beginning to pursue.
mm,
Uh, but as I said, they should look at it differently. Our leadership to global South is strategically very helpful to
mm,
them, because it will always be a moderating force, always be a moderating force, advocating dialogue, advocating negotiations, advocating peace with credibility, not like China, which sort of, you know, does all kinds of aggressive activities uh, in the region, and yet talks of peace. And their and their narrative is bought. The China
yeah,
peacemaker, come on! I mean, they're even kicking the poor little Bhutan around.
yeah, yeah. Mm. So, Ambassador Sabil, thank you for that perspective. Clearly, we are still a bit of a mystery as to what the US hopes to achieve by this. But at least we have a set of principles that you have outlined, which has given us a sense as to where this could possibly go. And as you said, there will be no long-term damage to the relationship. But clearly, a lot of feathers in India have been ruffled, and
Yeah,
this could what how this could turn out going forward is hard to say. So thank you very much for your time.
my pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you.
And for those of you who joined us on this conversation, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media. Thank you very much. Good night.